Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of some of the things you may have seen on the interface setup activity that you completed. So let's talk a little bit about, I gave you a list of equipment. Your handout looked like this, okay? And I gave you a list of some different pieces of equipment that you could use and some things you could do with those, okay? So now what we're going to do is going to start working through that. Let's start with digital inputs, okay? So on my test interface, when I look, I have a couple of places that I can see those, but it's I1 through I8 on my screen, okay? And I gave you a particular set of connections to make in a particular way. So this is the switch, okay? And you can see based on that switch that there are some different connections on it, and they're labeled. You can see a little bit of a picture here of what the switch looks like, all right? And so these pieces are labeled 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let me look and see. So the center pin is 1, okay? The pin on the top here is 3, okay? And then the pin on the bottom is 2. We're always going to use pin 1. So I'm going to put a connection in there. Okay. And then my activity tells me to put 1 in 3. Okay. Now if you know about switches, you know that this is I've now made, based on the picture, I've made a normally open switch because I've used 1 and 3. And now I'm going to put it in I1 on my Fischertechnik controller. And once I do that, you can see on my screen that I1 is still 0. And I'm going to press the button, and now it changes to a 1. Now I'm going to release it, changes back to a 0. This is called a normally open switch because it's a 0 normally. Then when I press it, it changes to a 1. All right. So then as you continue to move forward in your activity, okay, it says, was it checked or unchecked, 0 or 1, okay? And what's the condition when you press it? When you press it, it was checked and it was a 1. You can see that there, right? If I move the wire from number 3 to number 2, all right, I've changed the configuration now, and this is, now I'm using port 1 and 2. And when I look at my test interface, now it's checked and a 1 when I'm not pressing, and now I'm going to press, and it is a 0. I've changed this to a normally closed switch. Now it's the opposite.